Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of Heal from the Hurt. I am your host, Tammy Simmons, and in this episode, I actually want to ask you guys a question. I was watching a TikTok video, and in the video, the man asked this question: are you in love with the person, or are you in love with the thought of what it could have been? And I don't know, it just touched me because I remember I was just previously talking to a friend about the whole situation. And I can only speak for myself, but for me, it's like, you're playing like one of those games and you have to make so many moves. And it's like you feel like you're about to win the game and then you run out of moves. That's how I felt. Like I felt like in my mind, we could have possibly been married or this, that, and the third. Like, all right, since I was a little background, like since I was like 5 years old, I wanted to be married. Like my parents were married at the time. And it was like, I wanted to be married. Like that was like my whole thing. Like from kindergarten, my plan was to find my husband in kindergarten and we were going to be together for the rest of our lives and we were going to get married. Like that was like my dream, my fantasy and everything. And the history that I had with my ex, like we were together for so many years. So it's like you feel like you're about to get to that finish line of what you always wanted and not quite getting there for whatever reason. And I had to, like, this question basically brought me back to the point that we had so much history, I just didn't want to walk away with absolutely nothing. And I know some of you guys may feel that same way. It's like, dang, we could have, been married or we could have been doing this. But for me, I had to realize that there was two people in that relationship and the other person decided that who they were was all that they were going to be as far as certain things, and they realized within themselves that they were never going to change. And I had to realize that that wasn't good enough for me. Like, I want to grow, I want to evolve. And if you want to grow and evolve and you're dating somebody who doesn't want to, it's not going to actually work. That is an unequally yoked union. And so for me, it wasn't that I wasn't in love with the person. It was just the point that I was more in love with the the possibility of getting married or getting the goal that I had in my mind. If that makes sense. Like I've had that goal since I was a kid. Like I wanted to be married. Like that was my whole thing. And then I think honestly in the middle of the night, because that's what the person in TikTok was actually talking about. Like in the middle of the night when you're having those thoughts about your ex or whatever, what always came up to me was what could have been. But I will honestly tell you, with all transparency, the fantasy that I had in my mind of our relationship was not reality. I was not happy. In my mind, it was, oh, this is my friend, this is whatever. But in reality, the person wasn't there for me as much as I wanted them to be or at all. So that's neither here nor there. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself that question. Are you in love with the person or are you in love with the thought of what it could have been? Because that thought of what it could have been hurts so much more. And then that's how we become stuck, because not only are you're trying to get over the relationship, but you're also trying to break your mind from the thoughts of what could have been. That's a whole nother part of healing. And it's something that I had to learn myself. It was like, okay, so I can get over, okay, we're not together, da da da. But then the the other part of healing, the other part of healing is just like, dang, we won't be in the same household to watch our daughter grow up. We won't walk down the aisle. Like, whatever plans or whatever that I may have had in my mind or we may have had, those will never come to pass. And you have to unlearn those things and heal from those things and realize that it wasn't meant to be. And I wish I could have like another solution, because I always try to have, if I have a question, I try to have like some sort of solution or whatever, but in certain situations it wasn't meant to be. And then for some of you guys who actually want to go on to get married and all those things, you will see why it didn't work. The funny thing is, sometimes we will fight tooth and nail to make something work or make something mesh that doesn't quite work. But when you have somebody that is called to you and you are called to them, it's just easy. You don't have to do all that work. You, like, the problems that your ex or somebody else might have with you, like, oh, you have to change this, or you can't be like this, you can't be like that. You will meet somebody that they love you for exactly who you are. And they actually see you. Like, they don't want you to change. And so if I can give some sort of, bright light, I guess, that's what it will be. You don't have to change to be with someone that you actually love and adore. Like, especially like if you're not doing anything wrong. Like, the person that is called to you, it will be easy as far as the attraction and them really seeing you and really loving you and all those things. The point that you have to constantly change for somebody or have the feelings that you're not good enough for them, that's not what relationships are. So if I could give you, like I said, any type of light or sunshine solution to the thing, I know it hurts that the relationship is no longer there and no longer present. But also realize that there's better to come. And if you didn't make it to the finish line with that person, it was because it wasn't meant to be. And I know I hate to say that, because, you're probably hurting right now, and it sucks to hear. But when your person finally finds you, you will see the reason why it could never work. And even before that, as you're going onto your journey of finding yourself and loving yourself, you will see why it didn't make sense or how that didn't work out. So I hope that this helps you try to gain like some sort of clarity